Hey guys, I wanted to come on here, and after pretty much it premiered about a week ago, and everybody's had a chance to binge watch or watch twice or three times a day, the new Shira and the Princesses of Power on Netflix, the Netflix and DreamworksTV reboot of Shira. Like I said, Shira and the Princesses of Power. The reaction has been pretty much mixed. There's a lot of people that like it, and there's some that don't. And the ones that don't pretty much see Shira as being nothing more than, how do I put this? They look at it as nothing more than a blend of Steven Universe and Avatar. That's what they look at. The reason I believe they look at it that way is because of the fact that the She-Ra designs are very Steven Universe-like. The other reason they feel it's kind of Avatar-like, I'm guessing because of the story or the way things are set, and somewhat of the predictability. I mean, there's a lot of longtime fans of She-Ra that want to give this show a chance, but are not too sure about it. I mean, sure, the first season's just the introductory season. It's to introduce the newer generation to this interpretation of She-Ra, as well as reintroduce the older generation that grew up with the original She-Ra on this new interpretation as well. And again, I think the predictability with She-Ra that comes from Avatar is, even though Avatar The Last Airbender at most times, from what I understand, was unpredictable and you didn't see certain things when they would come, there were at times that when you would meet a character or you would have something get introduced, like you'd have a teasing of a new power that Aang would learn, or one of his friends would learn or hear about, you pretty much knew that as you got closer to the end of one season that Aang or one of his friends was going to unlock that power and use it. When it comes to She-Ra, there's a lot of fans that pretty much see this interpretation of Catra, which is who basically is portrayed as a rival, friendly, kind of a frenemy, if you will, rival of She-Ra's, a frenemy rival. In other words, she's an enemy, but she's kind of still a friend, but she's also a rival, because her and Adora basically grew up together, I guess you could say, and became best buds in the Horde. So you could tell that she has this sassy, sarcastic nature, friendly, kind of a frenemy-like nature with Adora, with She-Ra, if you will. So a lot of people, probably like myself, are assuming already, just through what they feel could be predictability, that Catra is probably going to, this interpretation of Catra is going to jump ship and go over to the rebellion. She's going to pretty much become a good version of Catra. And it wouldn't be the first time this has happened in any kind of retake or reboot of a franchise, where one character was always the villain, but then in the reboot or retake, the retelling, that character ended up becoming good. Either was that towards the end of the series, in the middle of the series run, it happened, pretty much. So I think that's the other thing that's really gotten on under people's skins that don't like it, or not too thrilled about this reincarnation, because they could see that happening. The other thing they don't like about it is the fact that they feel it's just nothing more than propaganda for for the LBTQ or LGBTQ or LGBTQ, basically the pride community, if you will, just the way it's presented. They pretty much don't like the fact that it's a representation in their eyes of the basically the pride community, the lesbian, gay pride community. And the reason they bring this up is just because of the character designs. Like I said, the character designs are very Steven Universe-like, and they don't like that because pretty much Steven Universe, when you take a look at the gems, are pretty much LBT, pretty much representations of the pride community. That's what they see them as, is representations of the pride community, of the hold on for a sec, let me type it in, see if I can get it right. The LGBTQ. Yeah, the LGBTQ community. That's what it is. That's what I was thinking. The LGBTQ community. They pretty much feel it's nothing more than a representation of that. Just like I said, by the characters being drawn the way they are, designed, interacting. Because, like I said, they look at Steven Universe and they look at the characters like the gems, and they're like, they take a look at Pearl, they take a look at Amorous, they take a look at can't think of a name with the three eyes. It's a fusion of two people, or two gems. I can't think of a name right now. But you kind of get the idea, right? Right. What is the name of the three-eyed gem woman in Steven Universe? Lapis. I think that's not her name. Hold on. I think it's Garnet. Yeah, Garnet. Yeah, Garnet. So you have Amethyst, Pearl, and Garnet that are looked, especially Garnet, who's a fusion, according to Wikipedia here, of two smaller gems known as Ruby and Sapphire. I think that's what it says. Yeah. So, and the fact that it's played upon that, and the fact that Garnet is a fusion of two characters that are basically LGBTQ characters anyway. What I'm getting at is a lot of fans pretty much feel that's what She-Ra, the new She-Ra, is being touted as. And they don't like it. They don't like it because of the fact that it's all the things that I just mentioned, It's predictable. It's very Avatar-like with its predictability and sometimes comedic style. it's very Steven Universe-like with its designs and sometimes the way the characters act towards each other, and and kind of connect with each other and communicate. And again, like I say, they don't like it because they feel pretty much like with Steven Universe, it's just another animated or live action series, in this case animated, that's targeted. Its main goal is to send a message send an LGBTQ message to those watching that, hey, it's okay to be whatever you want. But I think the number one thing that fans don't like about this is the one thing that made She-Ra so fun, and even the newer generation that probably watched the old She-Ra to get an idea of what they were going to get into with this new one, the one thing that they probably agree with those that grew up on She-Ra, like their parents, their aunts, their uncles, and even their grandparents, the one thing they will agree upon about that She-Ra that made it fun, just like with the show that She-Ra spun off from, He-Man, was the fact that nobody, and I mean nobody, in the rebellion, the Horde, no one, except for He-Man and the Sorceress, and just a few select others, like in the She-Ra's case, Madame Raz, Cowl, and Light Hope. Light Hope, yeah. Light Hope. Yeah, that was the kind of mystical rainbow, whatever it was. But they were the only characters that knew about She-Ra's dual identity. Just like, in He-Man, the Sorceress, Orko, and Man-at-Arms were the only ones that knew He-Man's dual identity. So for this interpretation, basically everyone knows that She-Ra and Adora are one and the same. They know that. And honestly, a lot of fans feel that takes away from what made She-Ra good. Like, to them, it's like if you're going to change a lot of what She-Ra, my opinion, from what I'm understanding, from what I'm understanding, just taking my time there, it's like to these fans here that don't like this interpretation of She-Ra, it's like, hey, we're willing. It's like to them, it's like in their minds, they're willing to accept. They're willing to accept She-Ra, as you're presenting it now, this new interpretation. As long as you keep a few things from the original. And my opinion, is they probably feel that anything else that everything that you probably would have changed, even making it, like I say, a show that represents the LGBTQ community, they probably wouldn't have had a problem with, as long as you would have kept She-Ra's identity a secret. In other words, not let anybody, just like in the original, not let anybody from the Horde or the Rebellion know who she is. And I think that's probably one of the things that pissed a lot of fans off, old and new. Because the new fans, like I said, that were probably watching the old series to get ready for this one, probably liked the idea that nobody knew who She-Ra was. That even though pretty much she and Adora looked one and the same, facially looked like, basically the same person, facially, they were like, basically you could see they were one and the same. Nobody knew they were the same person, and that's what made She-Ra so intriguing. Just like with He-Man, it's basically the same thing with, like, say, Superman. Superman and Clark Kent are one and the same. And Lois Lane, finally down the line, the writers of the comics and the shows and the movies finally gave her the intelligence to put two and two together in certain interpretations, if not the main continuity. But you kind of get what I'm saying, right? even when they didn't even though it was plain, even though the evidence was right in Lois's face in the early stages, in the early times, in the early runs of Superman, she didn't know. Even in the animated series by Warner Brothers, she didn't know. Even though it was like plain as day that something just wasn't connecting. The point is, a lot of people enjoyed that part of She-Ra and He-Man. The fact that nobody knew that these characters were one and the same. That nobody knew that He-Man was Prince Adam. Nobody knew She-Ra was Princess Adora, even though they pretty much were very identical facially. Nobody knew it. Nobody knew that, and that's what a lot of fans probably hoped would have been kept. But nope. In this version, everybody knows who She-Ra is. And I can understand why they had that happen, because pretty much if you're going to bring in the other princesses that we met in the original 80s show and make them a main part of this series, along with Bo, a new younger version of Bo, then yeah, you're gonna have to have them at least know who She-Ra is, know who She-Ra and Adora is. I mean, one of the first things they do is have Adora as She-Ra just basically reveal who she really is underneath. And then I think yeah. I think the other thing people don't like about it is Swiftwind. Swiftwind isn't known as Spirit anymore. He's just known as Horsey. Guess they're not to confuse with the Spirit animated series based on the Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron movie. But still, when Horsey or Spirit gets turned into Swiftwind, no offense in this, because this obviously does happen in any interpretation, it looks like the genders have changed. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, I think those are the only negative things that I've heard that people don't like about She-Ra. Overall, the positiveness is there are some good changes. The storytelling is good. It's got a consistent continuity. People love that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people like the idea that, She-Ra's not just chosen because she's the twin sister to a brother that's royalty, and she's royalty, but by virtue of that, I think a lot of people enjoy the fact that now she's just one of the many descendants or chosen warriors over the past thousands of years to be She-Ra, or to hold the mantle of She-Ra, or be chosen to hold the mantle of She-Ra and be the hero of Eternia. Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, I think they like that, and I think they also see that there's a lot of potential in this series that if you just give it another chance, maybe when it goes into a second season, you're going to see that potential really shine. And I think right now they've only scratched the surface. But She-Ra, and the Princesses of Power, pretty much we all knew was just when it was announced, the designs came out and everything, we pretty much knew it was going to be under a lot of fire. But we didn't expect it to be under this much fire. So, but I'd say, give it a chance. I might check it out once in a while, or just play it by ear and see what other people have to say. But right now it's got a very mixed reaction, and that mixed reaction is more towards the negative, but there are some positives. So, but that's all I'm going to really say on it, guys. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. I'd love to hear what you have to say on it. And I am out.